outline of your expenses. Thirdly, set out short-term goals and long-term goals. So in setting out short-term goals, you define your needs. You defined not your wants, your needs. So track your income, track your debt, track your savings, and track your expense.
Awesome, awesome. Can you give him a round of applause? So for those that are not in that session, you can meet the facilitator, Pastor Mike. It was awesome. I was part of this. Who wants to briefly summarize scaling your business? Just briefly, 1 minute. Who wants to volunteer? Nobody? Okay. Anybody wants to summarize building a successful side hustle? Just summarize, 1 minute. Anyone? Let others learn from your session now. We need to move forward. I have limited time. Okay, please come. Please, can you appreciate her? Thank you. Okay, just 1 minute, summarize.
About the side also, I learned a different thing today that your normal 9 to 5 job does not have to affect your side also. And then you don't have to retire your 9 to 5 because of side also. And then you don't even need a location to do your side also. Once you have a phone and you have the skill in yourself and you can build up on the skill, just send it out and let people around you know what you do. And then they gave us apps that we can use for freelance. So they mentioned the app and you can download the app and put what you are doing in that app. And they told us to start small and scale up. So there's a lot we learned, and I'm very grateful that I'm here.
Wow, awesome. Can you please appreciate her? So bouncing back from business setback, who wants to volunteer? Please, sir, can you please come? Thank you very much. Scaling your business. Who wants to volunteer? I've been hearing whispering that person is loaded. The facilitator is loaded. Someone was just whispering in my ears. Please come and share. Thank you.
Praise the Lord. In our own set, we talk about bouncing back from financial setback. Financial setback, we learned that is bound to happen in the business, in our business. Some through our carelessness, sometimes out of our control, setback can come in our business. And we need to understand that lives happen. It happens. So when you are in the business that you're experiencing setback, we need to know that it happens like that. So we need to carry it. And there's something that we need to know that happen when we are experiencing setback. That is denial. That's something that we need to know. Sometimes anger, sometimes depression. It will just come when you are experiencing setback. But if you can deal with all this, you can bounce back. That's what I learned.
Thank you very much. Briefly, there was something I heard the facilitator said. He said the path of the righteous man is like a shining light that shines brighter and brighter. He said, when you plot the graph. So according to that scripture, it goes like this: shine brighter, brighter, brighter. But in reality, it's not like that. It is, but you still get to your destination, but there are some setbacks. You understand? So setback. Thank you. Okay. Briefly, scaling your business, right? Thank you very much.
All right. Good afternoon. This afternoon. Okay. I think I learned a lot. And one of the things that he said something last while he was about to leave, and that was him quoting 2 Kings 4:8, talking about Elisha. Was it Elisha? Where he asked a woman to bring a pot. He asked her to borrow pot. And in scaling up your business, you need other people, collaborate with other people. And that was what Elisha asked the woman to do. He said, go out, go and borrow other people's pot. And from there, she was able to borrow. So after borrowing to the point that there was no other pot she could, get again. So he asked her that, okay, that is not the point of miracle. It won't just keep filling. Then after it's been filled, go out and sell. Okay, so, and he mentioned also, apart from collaborating, define your niche, brand it. Just like, I picked that and I was like, okay, yes, I think I got that because I'm into t-shirts branding and wow, I'm wearing one. So let's say I'm branding. So like, you should brand your business. Then look, he said something very important that I owed so much that I said, look for a hungry business. People are looking for something that they want to buy. But it's funny that you don't see it outside. People are just doing let me just do what people are making money from. Look for what people need, then give it to them.
Wow, powerful. Can you please give them a round of applause? Let's appreciate our facilitators. They've been awesome. Please appreciate them sincerely. What you learned in that session, people pay hundreds of thousands to learn. That's the truth. If you go to Lagos Business School, you want to learn how to scale your business, more than 100,000, 200,000. But God just brought them together, and they are our people. And they shared it out of their wealth of experience and knowledge. Can you please say God bless you to them? Let's appreciate them one more time. Thank you. Thank you, Sars. Thank you, Ma, for giving to the Lord. Now this is the time. We are about to move to the next level. I'm going to invite our dad, our pastor, to come and do the honor. I'm inviting our guest speaker. Sir, can you please appreciate our pastor, Pastor Femi Aladesomi? Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you, everybody. How was it? Again, thank God for the breakout sessions. It was beautiful, right? Okay, I want you to kindly help me specially celebrate Pastor Yemi Ajadi right now. Thank you, sir. Global Harvest, Agodi. I saw the people didn't want you to go. So by God's grace, we need you back. And I guess this time we should be talking to the entire church by God's grace. Thank you so much for being available. What's my voice sounding like? Can you hear me well? This is not very audible. Okay, guys, can you give me a little more volume on this? This is not my mic. This is for the Q&A. Uncle Femi is going to take in my mic, so I'm just trying to help you get it. Is it better now? All right. So we are privileged this morning to have this gift with us. And for years and years, I guess my first experience and exposure to him was when the first Jogo was commissioned and came on. And to just always look at him from a distance and wondered what kind of person he is and how it was. So Global Harvest, in fact, while the building was under construction, a time came when there was this heavy downpour and our old auditorium, the roof caved in. And Rev had to reach out to him and ask for permission for us to have our services in the uncompleted Jogo, and he graciously allowed us to. In fact, I think it was free of charge or something at the end of the day. And as the years progressed, we've been blessed to have such warm fellowship with him, a fantastic neighbor to us, and then getting to know him as a person gladdened my heart for my banking days and us trying to market him and all the marketers on his case. And yet he always has a nice way of declining or agreeing. Yeah, I mean, you never left him feeling like you were washed down or dressed down. No, he would always ask how we're doing and then tell us, you people, I have investment in that, and then you feel you leave the place feeling smiling without money, but it's just always nice to be around him. And then I guess let me just add one more thing. And then finally his birthday was going to come, and we were privileged to be at the service in church. And this was also special for me because apart from, maybe I should say on my birthday, when I was going to turn 40, oh my God, Uncle Femi was one of the chief coup plotters. And what had happened was they were looking for a way to get me to the venue without me knowing what was going on. So Pastor Lou kind of figured that, she thinks she can talk to Uncle Femi that if he says I should come, she knows I respect him enough to go because it was during house fellowship time, okay? So Uncle Femi called me on a Saturday and said, Pastor, we need to catch up. I said, okay, I'll be on standby for him. And then I didn't hear from him on Saturday. And on Sunday he called and said, hey, so can we meet by, I think he said 5 o'clock. And in my head I was thinking, 5 o'clock, Uncle Femi. So I thought, okay, I would come. So our fellowship started, and as they settled in, I ran away from there, quickly came to his office to meet him. And in my head, I was thinking, what's it about? And then he said, oh, they have other buildings going on that he wants to ask my opinion about one or two things that was going on there. And here was I praying like, Lord help me, because if he shows me something, at least let me have an idea of what I'm saying. Anyway, long story short, he led me into the hall, and when there was time to open the door, everybody shouted, happy birthday. I was like, my God, it was what a shocking shock, you know? And I've really just loved him and all. So now let me come to his birthday, and now we were in his church, and then I heard his pastor talk about him. And honestly, I know people can have a different life in church, at home, in different places, but when my own personal experience, some of the people that knew him in business, and then hearing his pastor talk about him, and then his love for music and everything, it just made me appreciate him on a whole new level. Please, let's celebrate God's grace in the house today. Well, I'm not bringing you up yet, sir. Just want to say thank you for giving to the Lord. And for us as a family, we really, really appreciate you. And we're excited about what we've seen God do over 20 years. Jogger Music is going to be 20 this year. They've having concerts every year for 20 years. That's something. And every time we step into any of the auditorium, any of the halls, somebody said it's as if they've done something new again. Something's always new. It's always tweaking it. And that speaks a lot, sir. And we thank God for your life and also for your political dreams and just a matter of many parts. Please sit down for a minute. Let's take the video introduction, and then the next voice you're going to be here will be the voice of Engineer Femi Babalola after the introduction.
Engineer Babalola Olufemi Babalola holds the position as the principal partner of Pentagon Engineering Consultants and the chairman of EB Contractors Limited. The two companies, out of diligence and excellent services, have so many awards to their credits. His passion for comfort for events made him establish the first ever standalone event center in Nigeria called Jogo Center in the year 1999, and till date he is the chairman of Jogo Event Center. Jogo is a name he inherited from Government College Ibadan, GCI. As a professional, he's a fellow of the Nigerian Institute of Highway and Transportation Engineers, a fellow of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, a member of the Nigerian Institute of Structural Engineers. He is also a registered member with the Association of Consulting Engineers Nigeria and the Council of the Regulation of Engineering in Nigeria, CORE R5155. He is a political leader, philanthropist, and socialite who loves making friends and derives pleasure in putting smiles on people's faces. He's a bona fide member of so many clubs and societies and an executive member of various associations, institutions, societies, and committees. With Jesus' joy and a standing ovation, let's make welcome for a time of ministration our very own Engineer Babalola Olufemi Babalola.
Please sit down. Please sit down. Good morning, church. Or should I say good morning, businessmen and women? I'm very happy to be here again. This is my church. Whether you like it or not. As the pastor rightly said, we have a relationship that dates back. When he said 20 years, it just struck me that, yeah, that's true. We've been together for 20 good years. And sustainability. And to him, he wanted me to come and do the church a favor, not knowing that he was doing me a favor by inviting me here. Because as we speak, one of my most liked interests of speaking is on succession. And if there is no sustainability, there will not be succession. And if there is no succession, there is no sustainability. So they link together. But before you can sustain anything, and before you can hand over a business to someone else, the business must be thriving. Or at least it must have some life in it. In Germany, 70 to 80% of the businesses are still family owned up till now. And majority of them are over 300, 400 years old. In the US, 60% of businesses were family owned up to the third or fourth generation. So, what am I saying? In Nigeria here, it is not strange that we always complain that businesses die. And a lot of people are now saying that I think it's the youngest amongst them, maybe 40. Their own father ran it up to about 7 years ago. The grandfather that started the business only had a business called Zad, not CZAD. CZAD is a different company. He started a company called Zad Group. And what were they doing? They were only buying cocoa and selling cocoa. They were into produce. When it came to the turn of his own children, they had Eli, Morris, and Raymond. The three of them. They added Steelworks. They added Vina Furniture. They added the packaging company. The three of them. Then at some point they added Copec Construction. All family run. When it got to the turn of the grandchildren now, the third generation, they added Zatec. And Zatec is a phenomenon. It is such a fantastic industry that if you wake up at 10 a.m. in Jos, if you go to a cold store, you will see Zatec products there. And guess what? All their products are being produced in Ibadan. So the trucks leave Ibadan at 2 a.m., 1 a.m., 3 a.m. to different destinations. And at some point, I was speaking to Chief Raymond about 10 years ago, and he said that, Femi, I discovered that our outposts, that is the branches, add more overheads than the head office. So they just decided to consolidate all their businesses into one. And that's why they do everything from Ibadan. It's not as if they can't have another poultry farm or fishery or fish pond in Abuja or Jos. But they found out that if they do that, their overhead was too high. So let us now come back to our business. To be able to hand over something to the next generation, we are discussing business. And business could be your passion, could be anything, but there's a caveat. And what's the caveat? You must exchange that service for money. Anything you do, it could be a good tailor, a good barber, anything. As long as you exchange it for money, it becomes a business. Everything you do, as long as you don't exchange it for business, it becomes a hobby. So we always have a choice to move from hobby to business. And a lot of our friends have done that in the past. And our parents, a lot of them were in businesses, but we all made mistakes. Instead of us to take over the business and take it to the next level, we felt that the businesses were small. So we left those businesses for them. A friend of mine resigned from a bank about 6 years ago, and she told me that at some point, she just felt that this same shop at Baggy, where's the shop one? Baggy, I think it's Baggy now. Baggy. Yes, the old Baggy. She said it just occurred to her one day that this same shop was one their mom used to send 4 of them to university at the same time. That was when it occurred to her that this must be thriving business. So she went back. She went into the place at Baggy. It was the old Baggy, because the shop used to be at the old Baggy before they moved, but the mother didn't move. The very big shop owners in those days, they couldn't touch them when they moved to Baggy. It was more of the small people that they moved to Baggy. So when she went in there, luckily for them, they did not dispose of the shop. So they kept the shop. So she went back, she went to revive the business. So what did she do? She brought her own enlightenment, her exposure, her business sense, all that she had gone through in life. She went there. After about 1 year, she said she went to a company called Nichem Tex or something at Ikorodu. And she said, please, can I do this and you'll be making this for me? And they said, why not? It's allowed. So today, as I speak, she's the biggest Ankara person in Oyo State. There's nobody competing with her. So if we don't look well, we tend to underestimate some things. And are we not surprised? Those of us that grew up in Ibadan, you discover that a lot of houses at Ososami, Lodge Street, Imale Falafia, in fact, the whole of Okeado, you'll be shocked when you see the owners of like 20 houses. The man will just have one shop selling cap, that's all. They will just have one shop selling fabrics. So that goes to tell us that there is money in the business. But because they are not organized and they don't have the formal knowledge, they probably lacked the ability to quickly turn things around. Ari Shekola of blessed memory, In case you don't know, he built, who knows Lister Building? You can imagine someone building that house in 1979 and it was 34. Yes. If you calculate when he died to the time he built that, it was 34. And what was he doing then? He was selling Gamalin 20. His shop is still at Ogupa. He kept it there. Yes. But a lot of us, we believe that, unlike the Lebanese, we believe that whatever I am doing, the moment my children go to school, I'm going to take them out of the business. I want them to wear tie and go to GT and be a banker. You know? And we forget that somebody needs to develop and sustain that business. In fact, it is no more your business at some point. It becomes your family business. That's the mistake we make. The moment you keep taking money from your personal business to run your family, it becomes a family business. Because there's no time that your children will not be involved in the business. It could be a minimal involvement. It could be when you are coming back from school, branch at so-so place, let me drop the check there. The man is you're already inculcating him into the business. When you come back from school, stay here for me. You're already inculcating him into the business. So you will not be doing yourself any good if you don't allow him to grow in that business. Those are the problems we've had. And that is why a lot of our businesses, I will not say we are not sustainable, refused to grow. Because together with the children and the owners, we killed the initiatives ourselves. Because we felt that my child should not be involved with this business. He is a graduate. Forgetting that the guy needs that graduate sense to take that business to another level. And that's the only way you can sustain that business. So, let us now look at business on its own. How do I grow my business? Now you are the owner of a business. You have to grow it and sustain it before you can hand over to somebody. So what are those things that will keep you running that business very well? Number one, you have to play by the rules. If there are rules on ground in the country, you have to obey the rules. What are the rules here in Nigeria? Number one, you have to register your business. It is just too good. You register your business, you run it the way it should be run, you pay your taxes, you do whatever you want to do, and you cannot do your business alone, except for this generation that will do sit at home and sit behind a computer. But you cannot run your business alone. You need people to run it with you. You may need staff, and staff come in different ways. Some people have a one-man business, and they have a driver, and they don't believe he's a staff of that business. He is a staff of that business. As long as you discuss anything about that business in the presence of anyone, he has gotten a knowledge of the business. One of the biggest contractors we have in Oyo State now was the driver of Tewo Gbade in those days. Tewo Gbade and Inolaji were the biggest indigenous contractors in Nigeria as at 70-something. So the driver must have picked from the little he heard from the man. That's the truth. That's just the truth. So, If you are running your business, you need staff. You need to be good to your staff. You need to know how to hire staff. If you don't hire rightly, you are in trouble. Don't think that there are people that are not 100% loyal. They are. And don't also think that there are people that will not pilfer or steal in your business. They are. Because in Nigeria, we have what I call communal living. So it is easy for my staff to come to me and tell me that he will not come to work tomorrow because he wants to take his mother to the hospital. But that will not happen elsewhere because your pay for that day will be deducted. We used to have a staff that left for the UK. And when I was in London last year, I called her that I was in town, so she came visiting. And I said she should share her experience with me. She said, excuse me, sir. In London, I want you both da. I said, why? He said, Tom, but you don't worry, you don't come for today, no pay. He said, Hotel Dabi Nigeria, that can say, Mofemu mommy losi bank. So there's no time for that. So sentiment is part of our life. So whether you like it or not, we build it into the business. Yes, there are some things that may not be too good for business, but we just have to live with it. So we must have good staff, very intelligent staff, that will help your business to grow. Because before you can be able to get a business to a stage and hand over to someone, the business must be at a stage. It must grow from zero to a place. You must understand the intricacies of every business to be able to sustain your business. We have a friend. At some point, he was the general manager of Lister Flour Mills. And another friend of ours retired from NNPC. And he must have overheard several times, several discussions, that there was money in flour buying, making bread. This was in the 80s. And when he retired from NNPC, he took his money and he took it to Lister Flour Mills. He went to deposit. And here, this part of the country, when rain starts like this, people eat yam, not you here, you are elite. Those of us that grew up in the villages, you see, at this period, bread becomes, in fact, it's going to be worse now, because a loaf of bread is about 1,000 naira now. So when he deposited for his flour, About the time they started supplying him, iṣu tuntun ti jáde. So nobody was buying flour from him. So what am I saying? Every business has its timing and intricacies. So if you don't know it, you are in trouble. You don't know the time to invest. The Americans will say, know when to go in, know when to come out. It's a problem. You may have good intention, you have good money, but if you don't know the time to go in, you're in trouble. Now, you also need to study the environment, know your competitors, know their strength, know their weaknesses. And if you also want, know the thinking of an average person. You need to speak with people all the time. In the process of speaking with people, you get to know some things going on elsewhere. And this is our brother from Lagos. He's just coming back from England. He wants to start a sugar processing factory somewhere. That gives you an idea that something is coming up. So I need to up my game. So you don't keep quiet when you're in business. Then we have discussed businesses. We have discussed how do I sustain my business. Now, how do you get the fund to start the business? And this is why I always say that carrying on the family business is always good, because someone had laid the foundation for you. Your own is just to start building on it. But there are so many times that it becomes difficult to get funds for a business. As a matter of fact, majority of our people will tell you that the reason why they have not resigned is because I don't have capital. And Nigerian banks are not friendly. I think they are the worst in all the banks of the world. Start making cake, for example, and you've made cakes for me several times. The first thing, one of the factors that would influence my giving you money is problem. I mean, people will eat it. So you put money down, like in any other business too. Some other people too have inheritances. Money left by your family members or relatives. Things are changing now. In our own time, you will have parents that had 20 houses, and in his mind, he has willed 10 to you, but he's still alive. But the man will see you suffering. He won't tell you that you have houses, that you can use that house as collateral to take money and run your business. You hear what I'm saying? My uncle, who was younger than my dad, asked my cousin, his son, to approach me for advice. So when he came, and I was like, but okay, don't worry. I'll speak with uncle. So when I called him, I was actually going to that area. That uncle, why don't you use one of your houses? And when I say houses, I mean, he has houses in Ikoyi. Now why don't you use one of the houses and take a loan for Muiwa? And I mean, that even me, I believe in what he's doing. That I believe in it. I'm going to help him, but I believe we should help him at a very high level. The man looked at me and said, "Mo fẹ́ will ilé yẹn fún ni." And I said that, but this boy will have died before you will the house. That's all. He now said, okay, he said, what should we do? I said, you know what we'll do? Go and meet your bank. Tell them that this is your son. He has this business proposal. Please let me give him 10 million naira. This house is his collateral. Let us monitor him for the first 2-3 years. If he does very well, at the end of the 5th year, let's tell him that now is your house. So if you are careless, if you lose it, you have seen the benefit of having this house. You have used it to raise funds successively 5 years. So at that point, he has appreciated the value of owning that property. So funding is key. If we can get funding right, if we can get business ethics right, if we can get playing within the rules right, and I implore everybody, please let us bring our children into our businesses as early as possible. That does not stop them from going to school. But if you are familiar with the Paki, we call them Paki in England. If you go to their shops, as the children are coming back from school, they will go into that shop, no matter how small it is. And it is the same family that will run that shop for donkey years. Because as the father is leaving it, that boy that went to Oxford is going to run that shop. They will continue to do it like that. I am not going to discourage staffing, but I've discovered that the family takes the business to the level at which it becomes so strong to withstand wind and anything. So at that point, you can go public. You can do anything. The Hiltons of this world, they were not mad. The Procter & Gamble's, they were not mad. Kellogg's, they are not mad. Berek, they are not mad. Excite, they are not mad. Stedler, Mercedes, they are all family businesses. Coca-Cola, Pepsi, all of them. They all started first 3 generations. That's like first 20, 30 years. They were family businesses. Until at some point, they open up. They open up. The Hilton hotels, the Hilton chain, the great-great-granddaughter, who is the chairman of the company now, she's such a carefree girl. But the business had gotten to a stage now that it can withstand anything. Anything. It doesn't matter who runs Procter & Gamble again. And I don't think it matters who runs Coca-Cola. It has become so solid that no wind or storm, maybe it can be shaking, but it will come back. That's the truth. I will also touch the area of guarding, protecting our investments. It is key. Otherwise, it's happening now. It's happened at this time. Someone that had 10 million naira a month ago, the money has reduced to about 3 million. So, it is also necessary to guide your funds and investments. And what do I mean by that? You make comparisons regularly. You look at inflation rates. Otherwise, you look at what is happening globally. And you use that as a gauge against your fund. You must have assets. The Americans will say that if you have money, you are rich. If you have $10 billion, you are rich. But if you have assets worth $1 million, you are wealthy. Because assets will continue to grow. Your money, government can help you to devalue your money one day. They can help you. When Babangida came in with SAP in 83, 84, a lot of the older men then that had retired successfully, they had worked for 35 years. Believe you me, they didn't need any other thing to survive again. Then pensions were paid as that went due. Pensions were well calculated. Gratuity were well calculated. All you needed till you die, you had it. Every month, just collect your money. But when Babangida came in to help them, he helped them to devalue the money back. $1 had become 4 naira. So that was when the problem started. And just like this time, and people said that it would never continue, that this is Nigeria. That don't you know what they call this place? Nigeria. The man would rather go somewhere else. And in our very highs, it went from 4 naira, 6 naira, 8 naira, 20 naira, and I think it's 1,000 plus now, 600. So all of them that had cash in the bank, they lost it. Those of them that had properties, they gained. So no matter what you do, you can keep cash. We all need cash from time to time. Because assets are not convertible. You need time, but you need assets. And I have never agreed less with that theorem. That when you have assets, you are wealthy. When you have cash, you are rich. And richness, even the bank can collapse. If the bank collapses tomorrow, you are in trouble. Then you have to use the sixth sense to grow business. The sixth sense. Many years ago, my wife we were importing toys and gift items in containers. And she felt that she needed, you know when you are too elitist in doing things, she needed a PR firm, a girl that would go around and market. I said, what would they be doing? They would be going from shop to shop and market. I said, okay. She employed a girl and a guy. What I didn't allow was giving them a car. She said, oh, they needed a car. They would go to Kogi, they would go to Lagos. She went around Ibadan. They went around Ibadan. They would say, oh, we'll only be able to sell 3,000 today, 4,000 tomorrow. I said, you know what I will do for you? I said, I will help you market for 4 days. And if you see the difference, you pay me. So, and you know family business in Nigeria. The money is your own, no? But since you are invested in the wife, it's our money. So I was in trouble. I was looking for a way to make my money back. So I needed to help her grow and make profit so that I can take my money back. So Foodco was not this big then. Foodco was one small shop. Besides Foodco was Zuma. Besides Zuma was a shop in around, what's the building? Favors. Is it Favors? Favors building. Yes, there used to be a very good supermarket there. So I went for a meeting. I went for a meeting at Bodija. Engineering meeting, not. So I just said, okay, let me just branch at these places. I branched. I went inside. I said, do you have this toy? They said they don't have. I went to the second shop. I said, do you have? They said they don't have. The third one, they don't have. I left. 2 days later, I went back to the same shop. I said, do you have this toy? They said they don't have. They said, people have been asking for this toy. Please, let us have the name. I went to the second shop. Do you have this toy? They said, oh, people have been asking for this toy. What is it like? They wrote it down. So, when I got home, I told my wife, I said, send your marketers to those places and let them carry their products. You know, and they sold, and they were happy. I said, you have to give me commission because I did all the business for you. So what am I saying? You have to think outside the box. You have to think outside the box because you need to keep the money and you need to be careful in what you spend so that you don't spend your capital. I've said all this because I want us to know that there's nothing to sustain if it's not there. And if it is not there, you need to do something to put it there. So we have gone through starting a business, protecting your business, running your business, growing your business, to the stage at which you want to make it sustainable. And making it sustainable now means going to the next level. Going to the next level. Because when I read the letter of invitation, I said, no, this was not complete. Because sustainability is just to survive. I want to make sure that I remain in business. Remaining in business does not necessarily mean that you are making profit. Does not necessarily mean that you are happy. But it means that, okay, Yoruba will say, that it doesn't matter what is going on under, as long as you still see me as the owner of the shop and I'm able to pay salary. Does not matter whether I'm growing profit or not, but I still own the business. But to make it sustainable, we have to take it past the visionary, past the owner of the business. Jogo Center as it is running. It's a running business. It becomes sustainable the day I leave the place and go and sit down in my office and not part of the running again. And the people that took over kept it on like that. And I've done my research. I discovered that in succession planning, there are about 3 or 4 categories of people. And you have to be careful and study them very well. You know the case of late Chief Rotimi Williams. He was a lawyer, one of the best lawyers Nigeria has ever produced. But the man was not mad when he handed over the running of his estate to the 3rd child. When he had a first, second, he must have seen some qualities in the 3rd one that this is the guy that can sustain this thing. But he was smart. You are not the owner of the business, but you run the business on behalf of the family. And at the end of the year, share profit. Yes, a lot of people did not understand the case. It was not a case of going over and above. Time is up. First time. Let's do the second time. So, you know. So, in succession, I've looked at it. Even your staff that are not even your family members. There are 3-4 kinds of people. Please note. 1, people that are knowledgeable about that business. They have knowledge of the business. It's been your deputy MD, it's been your HR, it's been anything, but he's not interested in that business. You know there are people like that. There are people that they know, if you ask him about how the bakery works, his dad's bakery will tell you, but he's not interested in it. But he just goes there because the father wants him to be coming. There are people that are so interested in that business, but don't have the knowledge. They are so interested that for continuity's sake, for anything's sake, for monetary gain, for anything, I want to run my dad's construction company. Maybe because it's been a successful company. He wants to run it, but he doesn't have the knowledge. The third category of people, he doesn't have the knowledge, he's not interested, but because the company makes money, he wants to take over. He doesn't care. He believes that the company can run on auto run. That once I'm there, then the fourth people, they are the people that they don't want, they don't have the knowledge, they are not interested in the money, they do that. But it's your only child, or it's the next person. So what happens? Will this business die? And that is what, unfortunately, it is happening now in Nigeria. We have lost a lot of our children to diaspora. We now have situations when you call your child and they will tell you that, Daddy, you can sell the house, we are not interested. You can sell the business, we are not interested. So that is another set of people. They are not just interested in whatever you are doing. They just want to carry on with their life. So with all this said and done, I think a business becomes sustainable when the visionary himself excuses himself and allows somebody else to run it, and it is run successfully. Thank you very much for listening. So that I don't go to extra time. I don't want to go to extra time. I think okay. Thank you very much, sir. Yes.
It's clean, actually. It's
Okay,
mine.
it's mine.
Would you please help me celebrate Uncle Femi right now? We can do a little better than that, right? Wow. Please, you may be seated. Hold the mic. Hold the mic. Woo! Thank you, sir. Wow. I think relocation has added another dimension to succession, isn't it? It's created a different experience right now. Thank you so much, sir, for sharing from your heart and being such a huge blessing. I was just thinking of my mom's business. Yeah, I was thinking of my mom's business. Interestingly, Thursday, Pastor Lord and I, as we were coming into town, we drove through Ojota and we went on a particular street. And what I didn't tell you was that my dad had a business on that street. Yeah, he had a business on that street. So when we drove into it, he came back to me. And then when Uncle Femi was talking just now, I'm like, oh my God, it never even crossed my mind. You know, like, it was just there. My mom had a shop. She sold kerosene. She had all those kind of things. And, I mean, we went to school, you know. We just went to school. And we came back bouncing and seeing all the attendants in the shop. And not once did I realize that we're already in oil and gas. Yeah. And to scale it up. I hope you're thinking like I'm thinking, right? Awesome. All right. Let's appreciate Uncle Femi one more time. Thank you, sir. If you guys will let me have the chairs now, let's set this up. We want to throw out the Q&A session. If you have anything you'd like to ask, something unique in your mind, I want us to take that. There's a Slido link on the screen that should come up on the screen. Yes. If you use the barcode or you go on Slido, hashtag 426569. That's if you go to slido.com and you use that code there, it will bring you into it will bring you into just a minute. Yes, sir. It will bring you into it, and then you can send your question in so we can ask and we can take the questions. We can let Uncle Femi answer the questions. We have about 15 minutes for this, so we're just going to work with the most questions that we can take, and then we can let Uncle Femi go back to work. He's in the middle of, as you can imagine, he's in the middle of quite a lot right now. So we will just do that and then go on. And, of course, remember tomorrow morning, hallelujah. It's going to be awesome tomorrow by God's grace, and I'll get to that in a bit. So let's see. I have the questions coming. Okay, yeah. So you can send the questions in. When I have the first one, then I'm going to ask Uncle Femi to come sit down, and then we'll just talk briefly. Just a minute. Yeah, so get on the link, please. Okay. All right. If you're watching online, you can send the question in as well so that we can take that and then we can run together. All right, Uncle Femi, I think we can help you. Please help me appreciate him as he comes back on stage. No, we have, it's all right, sir. Okay, please take the water from him. Thank you, sir. Okay, so whilst people are dropping in the questions, I'd just like to ask the first one. Fantastic. Somebody says, somebody's saying, why do Nigeria business collapse? I'm not sure we want to get into that yet. This one says, Femi, Engineer Femi, what spurred you into establishing the Jogo Center in 1999, and how did you get the courage going into unknown terrain? So why did you start the Jogo business? What spurred you into it?
Yeah, it was a result of starting or taking advantage of a business from your interest. I mean, I'm a social person. I go to parties. And at some point, I've been having this issue has been troubling my mind. I was at an event, and the ever best venue we used to have in those days in Ibadan were school compounds, or they would collapse the streets. Yeah. And we were in 1996. We were at an event in a school, and a lot of my friends drank beer, smoked cigarettes, and they left the butts in the classroom. They left bottles of beer in the classrooms, and we left. And jokingly, I said that we needed to clear these classrooms before we left. Because these students would, and was a primary school, would come to classes on Monday with cigarette butts littering their floor and beer. And someone said that they may even try to start smoking or drinking from there. And there and then, it occurred to me that we've been using wrong facilities for parties in Nigeria, that we should stop using classrooms. Closing of roads, that was even worse, because there would not be any sign anywhere that the road was blocked ahead of you. You will have driven 3 kilometers and you see that, one party, they've blocked the road. You have to go back. And I knew that it must just not continue, that something must give way. And along the line, I was ripe enough to build my office space at Abeni House. And when I was having a chat with the architect, he was taking my brief. It was common in those days to have shops. Shops made more money or gave you more money than, yes. And when we got to a stage, I told the architect that I needed a hall. And he looked at me and said, "What do you need the hall for?" He said, what do you need the hall for? I said, I just felt that one day, events will be taking place in the hall. He said, okay, let us do a 50-50 thing. Let's do 3 shops, then we use the remaining for hall. But because he was older than me, so I didn't have a choice. I just said, okay, let's do it that way. But deep inside of me, I was convinced that I needed more space for a hall. And we went on like that. And in the first month, when we finished Abeni House, the level and kind of inquiries we had was like people were waiting for us to finish. And in less than 1 year, the place could not contain us. I already saw that it was too small for us in terms of parking, in terms of space. And we were looking for new land to acquire. And we got here, but before we got here, Global Harvest was here before us. I think they had a bigger vision than us. So they were here before us, so we could only manage. And
led to the other
and
one.
we went again.
Yeah.
Instead of doing 1 hall this time, we now went into 6. And it was like, you must really be convinced about this business. So it was just the courage and the vision I had. And above all, that thing called grace
Yes.
cemented the courage.
Yeah. Please let's appreciate Uncle Femi for
Thank
that.
you.
I kind of like the idea of you notice something and then that little observation. Did we follow that trail? All right. Because I know some of us have noticed some things and we've not done anything about it. So let's get on it. Uncle Femi, somebody's asking, what do you do if your children, none of your children are interested in your business? And then a rider to that is, now that the children have studied abroad, they don't want to come back home. What do you do? I mean, just that.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
The children not interested in your business could be attributable to one's fault. I am just getting to that stage now. And incidentally, my daughter said she will be here. I don't know. Ore, are you here? Aha, she's there.
Oh, wow.
So, she's been in England since 2010. Did A-levels, did her first degree.
Yeah.
She came home for NYSC.
Yeah.
Then she went back for master's. Then She started working in the UK.
Yes.
But there are some of us that God answers our prayers somehow. So, and we've been on this going forth and back.
Yes.
That, you must, then you have a way of discouraging the situation in the UK. Then you have a way of giving an insight into what you have.
Yes, sir.
Because if you don't give an insight into what you want someone to come and run or oversee,
Okay.
then he or she may be seen as very small portion of the business. So which she or he may feel that this is not even enough for me, not to talk of for all of us.
Yeah.
So why do you want to bring me into crisis?
Yeah.
Well, thank God today. And she's there.
Amen.
And she said, oh, Daddy, I did this. I read this.
Yeah.
I said, don't worry. Come and do the HR of the hotel.
Yes.
Let's start from there. And she's here as our HR.
Please help me appreciate that. Thank you all for coming. And our prayers are being answered, though. Amen.
And my son,
Yeah.
my son was going to do mechanical engineering. And I didn't disturb him. But what I did,
Yes.
I've learned a lot from the Teogbades, the Knowledges. I was very close to their children. And I always feel bad that none of them took over the business.
Yeah.
So I don't want that to happen to me. So my son wanted to do mechanical engineering. So I didn't disturb him. But each time we were together, I have a way of talking derogatorily about mechanical engineering. I'll just drop it small. I'll talk more about civil. I'll take him everywhere. And I remember one day we were together in London. And I said, even this London, as developed as it is, they are still building. Engineers will never go broke. That's why engineers will never go broke. So one day he told me that, Daddy, I want to do civil engineering. So 2 years ago, he made a first class civil engineering. So he's doing his internship in England. No, he's doing his working.
Awesome.
So I'm planning to, and I'm praying seriously,
Amen.
that one day,
Amen.
he will pack his luggage too
And say
I'm coming back home.
Amen. Thank you, Uncle Femi. Please let's appreciate him for that. Someone is asking, what has been your biggest challenge in business? Maybe I should make it a twofold question. The first is, generally speaking, because you're into different things, then in particular, the hospitality or the care business, what the particular challenge from there, and then generally as a businessman, what's been the most daunting thing you've had to tackle?
I think the greatest challenge any businessman has in Nigeria is it has to do with government, inconsistencies in policies. That's the greatest challenge we have. That is very broad, but let's put that on government. We also have a challenge of trust. Trust with staff, with even government officials, with people you do business with. But generally, I would say that the greatest one is inconsistencies in government policies. That's the greatest one. So it's because anything that you cannot plan ahead is so difficult to run.
Okay, thank you, sir. So in terms of, you mentioned earlier during your speech about obligations to the government, CAC. Someone just asking, what do you do if, since you know the government is not really giving back, would you still advise that the person, fulfill their taxes and all the CAC obligations? I think it's pretty straightforward, but just to hear your thoughts on that.
It's a very difficult question. But irrespective of that, we all have our responsibilities to government. And if you ask me, I don't like paying taxes because I believe that we are doing so much that has covered the taxes we should be paying. But at the same time, I don't want to do things that would affect the smooth running of my business. And if it means paying tax to avoid that, I would rather pay tax. But again, there's always this question of chicken and corn. It's like, what comes first? Is it the chicken or the corn? So, I mean, was corn in existence before chicken came, or chicken were in existence before corn came? So, must you pay tax for government to provide facilities, or must government provide facilities so that you can pay tax? So that's a difficult one. So I think I'll rather pay my taxes so that I'll be left alone to run my business.
Okay, thank you, sir. 2 questions, and we'll take the third one, and I think I can let you go, sir. This one says, my mom is not so open. My mom, okay, the owner of the business is my mom, and she's not open to the so-called Gen Z ideas, okay? And then somebody says, how do I take over my dad's printing business? How do I scale it up? So would you like to speak into that? Yes.
It's a generational problem. It's everywhere.
Yeah.
My good friend, Kunle Morondia, I remember when he came back from England in 85 or 86, yeah? And he's a lawyer. So the father wanted him to work in his chambers, one of the biggest chambers in those days, Morondia. And he got there. And after about 2 years, I went to Lagos. I've been seeing him, you know. And I went to the office, and they said he had left. I said, why would you leave? So where was he? And this was the time of land phone. So I had to trace him. Nobody was willing to tell me where he was.
Yeah.
So I traced him, and I got there. And of course, he said so much that I shouldn't mind his dad, that he wanted the business to be run in the obsolete way, in this manner. Of course, I listened to him. So I now went back to the dad, because the dad said that I should come back to see him. So eventually I went back to the dad. And the dad said that he took me to Kunle's office.
Yeah.
He said since he came, he had bought 4 computers for the office. He had bought this, he had bought printer. If you printer, low computer. And the man said to make it worse, they will need money to train these people to how to operate computer. These people are used to typewriter.
Yes,
We've never had any issues with that. You understand?
Yes, sir.
So it's always a problem relating with the next generation. I mean, I know I have that problem with my children too. So at times, you give way.
Yeah.
We all have that issues because the way they operate is quite different from our own time.
Yes, sir.
Our own time, when your dad came back from work, it was time to run away from whatever you were doing. Their own time, when your dad come back from work, it is time to come and meet you.
Yes.
You understand? So this is a different generation. So you just have to understand, have a deep understanding of it. So concerning your father's printing business, you have to show interest. The man will not look at you and just hand over. I mean, put yourself in the same shoes. The man has deprived himself of so many good things of life just to run that business, to be able to fulfill his responsibilities. One of his responsibilities is to send you to school so that you come out a better man. Now you have come out, you just have to relate with the man. You have to look for a way to play into his heart, go to the printing press. When he's not there, show new ideas to him, bring businesses to the business. Even if it's just your friend that wants to print complimentary cards, if you bring it there, the man will know that you business.
Yeah.
If it's just print business card, bring it there. Your friend wants to print calendar, take it there. One day the man will say,
Yeah.
gradually the man leaves the business for you. But if he doesn't see you there, somebody that deprived himself to set up a business, and suddenly you don't want to see your business go down the drain. Nobody wants to see that.
Nobody.
Irrespective of whether it's your child or not. Nobody wants to see that. So you just have to show interest. Let them know that you have passion for it. Let them know that you can do it. And let them know that you love them to the extent that whatever you are even getting there, that is still their money. That they will get. Because don't let me deceive you. Parents different too. Children different too. The man wants to be sure that you will take care of him too.
Yes.
So that you don't make all the money and go with it.
Yeah.
Yes. Late engineer Fadansi, he told me that when his son took over the business, he told him that every summer you must buy business class ticket from your mother and me. That you must, that we are not interested in any other thing. But every summer, our ticket must be here, and you must put 5,000 pounds on top for shopping. So that was the agreement.
That was all the
So the man, no, he set up the business. The man wants to eat the business perpetually.
Yeah.
So even if you are taking 90%, remember that. And the good thing, God has made it good for all of us.
Yes, sir.
As you are growing older, your needs reduces.
Yeah.
So it reduces. You don't need more again. But take care of him. Don't let him start regretting that why did I hand over this business to him? They must be taken care of. So you must give them that confidence. That mommy is your business. Hello, every month. So if they say 500, Mato, Insha, let me make it 600. You say that. They won't be praying for you every day.
Yes. Okay, thank you. 2 questions, Uncle Femi. One says, in the absence of capital to start my business, can I pend the... Yes, you can. Please take a little, sir. Wanted to find out if I don't have enough capital to start my business now, can I pend the idea and take up a job and then set something aside to be able to kickstart the business? So I have a business idea. I don't have enough money. Can I pick up a paying job now and then come back to it later?
Yeah, a lot of people have done that in the past.
Yeah.
You can, but before you do that, make sure that you have exhausted all the opportunities available to you. And part of the opportunities is to talk to people. And again, I must put a caveat. You must hide a lot of information as much as possible until you birth your business. Otherwise, your proposal will be stolen by someone else. So as much as possible, whatever you want to do, please keep it here until you are able to do it. Because you may have a very fantastic ideas and don't have the resources. Your friend that you told may not have resources too. But in the process of helping you to look for resources, he spoke to a wrong person. Then we just hijack the idea and do it.
Run away with it. Okay, thank you.
So there's wisdom. That's why I said there's wisdom in everything.
Yeah. Somebody asked about Forex. As it affecting businesses. I just wanted, do you have anything you'd like to say to especially people buying things, importing certain products or buying the raw materials? Is there any general advice you have in handling the volatility in Forex?
It's unfortunate we are where we are. And like I said earlier on, there is no business that does not hate inability to plan.
Yeah.
I must be able to plan ahead that I need these raw materials to produce these goods at this cost. But the situation we are now, nobody can do that again in Nigeria. So in terms of Forex, I think the only thing opened to us now is ability of anybody to be able to generate his forex himself or herself. Because if we wait for government, we are missing it. If we wait for government to look for forex or to bid, we may be lucky sometime, but most times we'll be unlucky. So I think that's the lesson that we are learning right now.